Hi, everyone. We have as our guest today a very special actor, Reed Birney, whose quiet, unassuming performances really dig into you and haunt you long after you've seen them. You believe every second of his work because he doesn't look like he's acting. It always looks like he's living it. And even if you don't know his name, you'll recognize his face and be familiar with his work on such shows as House of Cards, Gossip Girl, Succession, The Handmaid's Tale. He's soon going to be seen in Silo and Rabbit Rabbit, movies such as The Menu, The Hunt, The Changeling. He's done a lot of stage work, including Casa Valentina, Annie Baker's adaptation of Uncle Vanya, and he won the Tony Award for Best Actor in Stephen Karam's The Humans, which was on Broadway and also played here in London. But two recent films have really defined his work. Is one is called Mass, which is a compact theatrical drama in which he played the grieving but stoic father of a boy killed in a school shooting, in which his boy was also the perpetrator of the act, and the extraordinary hothouse chamber piece Blue Film, which might be the most controversial film of the year. I'm JB Miller in London,
And I'm Jim Jalamas in Brooklyn.
and this is Boomer Has It. Welcome, Reed. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, I didn't describe what Blue Film was about, and I would love you to take us through this
You're gonna make me do it.
and your involvement in it because you helped develop it. But why is it maybe the most controversial film of the year?
Oh, wow. I guess we don't have to worry about spoilers particularly. Um,
We can just the
it's a
premise.
yeah, it's a two character film, um, written and directed by a fellow named Elliot Tuttle, who was 23 when he wrote it
Oh god.
and 26 when we filmed it.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and it start
Precocious.
yes, a real cinephile. Um, it starts with a Camboy, which for your viewers who may not know what that is, it's a guy who does uh, online sex work, and he's what they call a findom, which I think I'd never heard that term, but it's a financial dominator,
Mm.
and he tells us to his audience on the webcam that he's going to spend the night with someone who's paying him $50,000 to spend the night. And he shows up at the Airbnb, and I'm there masked, so it's not really clear who I am. And it is eventually revealed that I am his middle school teacher who's followed him from Maine to Los Angeles to put him on the right track, is what I like to say. I feel like he's gone astray, and I want to see if I can remind him who he was and could be again. But I also, the character's named Hank Grant, is a convicted pedophile.
I mean, that's the extraordinary thing because it's really an empathetic portrayal of a sex offender, which may offend some people in on the face of it without having seen the film. But the film is extraordinary. Both Jim and I have seen it. We just knocked out by it, and it's a when someone says it's a brave film, is that a is that an insult? Because you is that I didn't mean for that to come across as calculating, because the film doesn't feel calculating at all.
No, I think it is a brave film because it's not. It really it works hard to not judge either of the characters.
Right.
It's really interested in uh, letting you, the audience, sort of contemplate what perhaps it's like to be these people. At one point at a screening, someone said to me, "Don't you feel like this is a bad time to tell this story?" And I said, "I don't think it's ever a bad time to tell a story about what it's like to be a human being, honestly."
Yeah.
But
You
That's
know, I I saw a review posted yesterday from a Chicago alternative weekly, and they called it a seductive thriller. And it has moments of, as you pointed out, a young man, we see him on camera. He brags about earning $50,000. He arrives at a stranger's door only to see the occupant wearing a mask and operating a camera. And it has all the elements of a thriller. And after watching all 82 minutes, my wife and I holding each other's hands, uh, I'd call it an emotional thriller. It
Yeah.
it really just, um, it's you if you have any kind of empathy for anybody, any other human, you're going to be engaged by that.
But at the same time, Jim, I have to acknowledge that people who perhaps are victims of abuse, or somehow or other triggered by it cannot go on the ride. They really feel like it's irresponsible to humanize a pedophile.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, I disagree, but I understand um, that it just might be too much. Just as soon, nothing we do in the movie is illegal. There is no breaking the law. But as soon as you say pedophile,
Yeah.
it's such a hot button for so many
And,
people.
a lot of reviewers, I read a ton of reviews, Read, and they're all very insightful because I read good reviewers. But many are saying they're making analogies to Call Me by Your Name, Baby Girl, Pillion. There's a new one I have not seen with Olivia Wilde and Cooper Hoffman called I Want Your Sex.
Yeah.
But I don't find any of those, the ones I've seen, to be emotionally intelligent to speak of. And I the dynamic dialogue and filled with revelations in this, where each character journeys toward an outcome. It's almost like, I don't know why I had this feeling, My Dinner with Andre, with
Right.
trigger warnings.
Right.
Trigger warning for my dinner
Yes.
with Andre.
Yeah. Yeah. Folks
Yeah.
have compared it to that too, because it's, two guys sitting around talking.
Yeah.
Um, what is remarkable about what Elliot has done is that while these two guys are sitting around talking, there is such an incredible sense of foreboding and danger. And I don't quite know how that happened, but it's very clear that it has a sort of thriller component.
I
So
think
many
it's
people kept saying they expected one of us to kill the other one by the end.
yeah, watching it, you never know what's gonna come next.
Right.
It does really, um, keep you guessing. So you're going on the sort of the same journey that they're going on.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen, and you don't know what's gonna happen as a viewer. But it's not only just a brave film, it's a very brave performance, if I could put it that way, because I don't think a lot of actors would take that role. It's puts you in a very vulnerable position, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't just
You're right. I think a lot of actors wouldn't. Um, it just never occurred to me. When I read it, I just thought the script was so beautiful. And I
mm,
just thought it was an incredible part.
yeah,
And
great.
I thought, why wouldn't I want to play this incredible part? I never ever thought of him as a monster or uh, depraved. He says in the movie that he's lived his life knowing how dangerous he is
Yeah,
and voluntarily not participating sexually in the world.
yeah,
Uh, and yet, lots of people are like, he's completely irresponsible. He's not taking responsibility for his actions. He's a monster. He
mm,
should die. I mean, it really is violent when people, and I think part of it is that as they're watching the movie, they start to feel something for Hank, and
yes.
that plugs them in, and they just
And
say,
it makes them feel
I'm,
anxious,
I'm
maybe.
not going there. I can't
Yeah.
go there.
I mean, that's an extraordinary thing to think that a film can create that kind of response because I mean, as a playwright, that's what this kind of response I would want from play that would get
Yeah,
people
yeah,
angry,
me too.
upset, is that you're really getting them at a core place in them. And it's not easy to do that these days. You go back to like a Rite of Spring, where there's at the theater or,
Right.
angry at early I mean, how difficult is it now to really get people up, revved up,
Yeah,
angry?
yeah.
People are and that's the
It's
problem.
interesting you say "Call Me by Your Name." That was a movie about a pedophile, and nobody seemed to be upset about that. I think because they were both so young and beautiful, and there was an Italian travelogue connected to it.
Well,
Um,
part of the controversy was that neither actor was gay, and that was at
right,
a time when there was a lot more sensitivity toward that. So,
that's
I'm
right.
in that regard, I wonder how did you get into the role? What was in the actor's toolkit that got you into the head of Hank?
Well, the only thing I did to prepare was Elliot recommended I watch a documentary called Pervert Park, which I believe is on YouTube, and I think it was nominated for an Oscar a couple years ago. And it's about a mobile home
Okay.
park in Florida where sex offenders live when they get out of jail. And it's a community with support and group therapy and job counseling and all that. And they interview 10 or 15 of these convicted sex offenders. And the takeaway for me was they're just these guys.
Yeah.
They're not monsters. They're just these guys who have this thing that most don't understand. Um, they know they're dangerous. They know at this point what they can and cannot do. And it's like being an alcoholic. You just live with it every day. Uh, it's very dark. It's beautiful. I think a little bit like our movie. I think the movie is very dark and I think it's very beautiful. And so that was all I needed in terms of research. In terms of the sex stuff that happens in, I've done stuff in plays that have been pretty sexual. And, I think my personal philosophy is if something scares me a lot, that's the reason to do it.
Yeah, that's great.
You know?
But you see a lot of, and I can even name them, famous actors who have become lazy as they get older.
Yeah.
Al Pacino is turned into Al Pacino in quotes almost,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's happened to a lot of our, I think and they're not taking challenging roles. They're taking probably maybe things that producers have put together. You also had something to do with the development of Blue Film, didn't you?
I did. I'm an executive producer on it, I was offered the part. Elliot had seen me in Mass
Yeah.
and offered me the part. Wrote a very beautiful letter about how he thought I was the guy,
Mm.
um, and that was in. I think it was around October, maybe September even of 23. And so I signed on, but there were several things that I uh, wanted to talk to him about. I think the most fundamental thing was he was 25 or 6 at this point. He didn't know what it was like to be old.
Yeah.
And so Hank was not as authentically written as an older guy
Mm.
as he could have been.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about that. Um, I think he was going to have me be in a sweater vest. And I said, I don't think if I've traveled all this way to see the love of my life, I'm not going to be in a sweater vest.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I'd call that an ageist microaggression.
He just didn't know. He just didn't know. And there's no reason he should know.
Yeah.
Um uh and then some other things I found that since both characters are from the same town in Maine, um, there were no commonalities. There was no common references. If you were seeing somebody from your hometown, you would say, "How's Mrs. Jones?" and "Whatever happened to so and so?" And there weren't any of those references in there. So we went through and made it much more familiar between us.
What
Did
was the what was the collaboration process like? Was it over a series of phone calls, personal
It
meetings?
was it was no, he was in LA and I was in New York. It was
Oh,
texts and emails and phone calls. It was all of that stuff.
Did
Yeah.
you
maybe you were
workshop?
about to say something. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you kind of workshopped how the rehearsals went, or did you
There
not?
weren't any rehearsals. There was no such thing as a rehearsal.
But
Um,
the budget of this film, you told me the budget of this film, and I could not believe it. Do you wanna
well,
release that, or do you
yeah,
want?
yeah. I mean, Elliot had been an intern in Mark Duplass's office, and so he knew Mark and Jay, and they have a foundation that gives grants to young filmmakers. So he applied with this script, and the grant was $50,000. So he got a $50,000 grant to make his feature length debut. And I believe we did it for maybe a little under 50,000. And
That's
then then there were, I think there was another 40 or 50 in finishing funds, and I'm not quite sure where that came from.
but
But,
that is a good-looking film to be shot for under 50,000.
well, Elliot knew he wanted to make a movie he could make, and two actors in a single location is about as basic as you could get.
Yeah,
Um, Anything more
that's
than
very
that
smart.
is, yeah, no,
Yeah,
he just said, like, if I'm gonna do this, I wanna be able to do it.
yeah. And are you surprised at the reaction it's gotten, in the sense that it's been winning? You said it just won an award
We won
recently?
an award last weekend in Mallorca at
Mm,
the, Atlantadilla Mallorca Film Festival, and, I flew over, and Kieron Moore, who is the young man, is from Manchester, UK, and, we met in Mallorca for 2 days. Oh, I've never done anything like that. It was amazing.
cool. But it's gotten a theatrical release in the
It's got,
States?
yes, and it's gonna be opening in the UK on September 25th. It's on VOD in Spain now.
Yeah.
I believe it's opening in theaters in France and
Wow.
Germany and Brazil. Um, I know it's played a film festival in Australia. Letterbox seems to have a lot of people writing from Portugal. I think there's some pirating going on.
Mm.
Um, but even that's kind of amazing that, it's
It's
a
quite a
movie
reach.
they want to pirate.
It's a real reach for a small film. I mean, I would
Yeah.
imagine when you're making it, you wouldn't necessarily anticipate it would have such a wide scope with
Well, I've
its
made
reception.
lots of movies that have never seen the light of day.
Right.
And I somehow or other felt about this that it was going to do something. I don't know why. It's just a feeling. I knew
Mm.
that when we were making it that it was good. I
Yeah.
mean, Kieran has that 4-page monologue in the beginning. Um, this is his first movie. He was 26 when he made it too. And he didn't seem nervous at all. And he
Mm.
didn't feel like he was even worried about that 4-page monologue. And I thought, uh-oh,
Yeah.
what are we in for? And he showed up and he nailed it on the first take. It was like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Um,
But
so
does he have a theater background? I mean, that's
no, he was a boxer for 12 years.
oh, wow.
Yeah, he was a boxer, and at 21, he decided he wanted to be an actor, and,
Mm.
so he's been, doing it for about 8 years, and he's had some real success. He has had several television shows. I don't think he's ever done a play,
Yeah.
um, but he had a big hit last year on this Netflix series called Boots, where he was this, very homophobic, Marine, and he got a very large gay fan base from that.
Mm.
And so that seems to have migrated over to Blue Film.
Yeah. You, that's it's just an extraordinary that is such a small film can have such a big response. You've been in some big films that may have gotten smaller responses. You never know. But, you said you sensed while guys were making it that it
Yeah.
go
I just
somewhere.
thought I thought there was something magic about it. Um, I will confess that I never expected it to be so controversial, and that says something about my idiocy.
So naive.
So naive. I just was like, yeah, it's really good. People will like it. And
But that was probably helpful for when you were doing
well,
it.
I never ever thought of Hank as a monster. And look,
Yeah.
I played lots of bad guys over the years, and
Yeah.
I know when I'm playing a bad guy and what my responsibility to the story is as the bad guy. Um, I try to stay away from mustache twirling, but you got to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And I just never thought of Hank as a bad guy.
But
I
that
just thought of
yeah.
him as a sort of
But,
sad, broken man.
the beauty of the film, and I mean, teaming up with the Duplass brothers, I mean, those are great allies if you
Yeah,
have a small budget and if you want to make a film that is, that resonates emotionally. And it's so thick with dynamic dialogue. It's the only way I can describe it.
yeah,
That at some point I thought this could be a stage play, but no, it can't. There are so many great cinematic elements in it
yeah,
that
yeah,
make it watchable. It makes it cinema from the opening. What made me think of that was the opening, the 4 page at the beginning when we see him on camera, his fans reacting to him. But there are these great visual elements, the eye
yeah.
of the camera, the
Well,
mask.
he changes video formats 3 times. There's home DV footage. Um, there's the regular 4K, and then there's a third. I think the aspect ratio changes,
All right.
which makes it very cinematic. He said Elliot said he wanted to use the home movie camera because they represent two things. You only use a camcorder for home movies or snuff films.
Oh, cool.
And he
I'm
said,
sorry, I have to get a drink of water. I'll be right back.
he said the duality of the innocence versus the darkness of what the
It's
camcorder
quite a
can be.
Well,
yeah.
and then there were these interstitial film clips in the middle of a young boy,
Yeah.
which I
Who
found.
did you think the
But
boy was?
first, I was distracted by it, and then I got felt sad and disturbed by it. And by
Yeah.
the way, the Dr. Seuss book in his hand was a little bit on the nose. But I
Those
thought
ones.
it could have been either character.
Yeah, I like that you don't know whether it's me or him
Yeah.
as a boy, because it could have been both of us or just a child. In reality, it's the director. It's his home movies.
Mm. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Wow.
we got an inside scoop for our
Yeah.
listeners. Thank you,
Yeah.
Reed.
Yeah.
How did Blue Film start? What was the first
Well, we
festival?
we filmed it in March of 24, and we couldn't get any festivals interested in it. Sundance and Berlin and South by Southwest and all the top tier festivals passed
Aren't
on it.
those festivals that are supposed to take risks?
Well, Berlin especially is a very gay friendly festival, and all of them turned us down because it was so triggering. And they actually said, "We love this movie. We can't program it."
Ah,
Getting
So you sort
crazy.
of lose a lot of respect for some of these places. Just you
Yeah.
sort of think, well, what's the mission? And finally, Edinburgh, a year ago in August of 26. I think it was like a year ago today, actually. Uh, we premiered in the Edinburgh Festival, not having any sense of how it would be received. And David Canfield in Vanity Fair was there and wrote a beautiful piece about how profound the movie was. And we were off to the races after that. And then last fall, Obscured Releasing, which is the new distribution arm of Obscured Pictures, which is a very established movie press company. They picked it up, and we premiered in May of this year, 26th at the IFC in New York.
You've told me that this is the kind of project that you really enjoy doing, but you've done so much television. And when I met you, you were in London filming Silo
Yes,
for
Apple.
Apple TV, which is that season's coming out in September. So
It's
when's that
no, it's
starting?
well, it's already on in the States. I think it's on there too.
Oh,
It
okay,
came on
gotta
July
tell me
3rd,
about
season
that.
3, and I'm in season 3 and 4. So season 4 will be on in a year.
And what is Rabbit Rabbit?
Rabbit Rabbit is a Netflix series that I just finished the beginning of July, starring Adam Driver and Will Poulter and Odessa Young. Adam is a convict who escapes from prison, and he's meets up with his pen pal girlfriend Odessa and her ne'er do well brother, and they're on the lam, and they stop at a truck stop to get something to eat, and everything goes haywire, and they end up taking everybody in the truck stop hostage.
Mm.
Oh my.
And I am the sad priest in the truck stop that gets taken hostage.
Sad priest.
Sad priest. Yeah.
What that
Yeah.
hot priest?
Sad hot priest.
Sad hot priest. Your entire family are, actors, right?
I
You
know. Yes.
you're like
Madness.
one trap family. I mean, you got everyone, your wife, your son,
I
your
know we've put them into show business.
yeah. What is that? What's that Noel Coward song?
No,
Mrs.
don't
Worthington,
put your
don't put
daughter
her
on the stage, Mrs.
stage.
Worthington. Yes.
You put them on the stage, and they've stayed on the stage. What's
Well,
that
they're
like?
they're both really good, so I can't begrudge them at all. They actually made a smart decision. They both. Our daughter is named Gus, Augusta, but we call her Gus because we were watching Lonesome Dove when we were pregnant with her,
Oh,
and we both said, "Well, if it's a boy, it'll be Gus. If it's a girl, it'll be Gus."
it turns
Because
out it was Gus.
Duval was so amazing in that show, and and Ephraim, uh, our son, is an actor too. He and I did a two-hander together on a play a couple of years ago called Chester Bailey, in which he mopped up the floor with me and was nominated for awards, and I got nothing. So
Well, you have a
there you go.
Tony Award for
I
best
have,
actor.
yeah, yeah, but you can
Right.
never have enough, JB.
No, all right. Well, maybe get an Oscar coming up. I have a bone of contention with you, and that is that you've abandoned the theater,
Yes, I
and
have.
I can't. I'm just still coming to terms with that.
Well, I am
Tell
too.
why? Why have you done that? Why have you abandoned?
Well, I've done 10 billion plays, and I would say 90% of them were bad. Um, so I'm weary of jumping around on stage. Um, Plays are hard. Plays are really, really hard,
Yeah.
and they take over your life. I found that when I'm doing a play, I can do one thing during the day. I can do my laundry, or I can go to the dentist,
Mm.
and then you got to really start thinking about 8 o'clock at night. So your life is not no longer your own, and also they don't pay so good.
Yeah.
So I did a play in which during the play I had to turn down $100,000 worth of film work.
Whoa.
And I just thought that can never, ever, ever happen again. I really have to stay available. I want to be able to leave my kids something and,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So
Well, you are in real high demand at the moment.
am I?
You were a few months ago. You were about to fly to Australia to do.
Oh, well, I was gonna go to Australia to do a tiny part in there's a theater company called the Elevator Repair Service
Yeah.
here in New York, and they do a 9 hour presentation of The Great Gatsby where they literally perform the entire book.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to step in the role of uh, Jay Gatsby's father. It's one
Mm.
scene. They've all been doing this play for 20 years. And the guy that was originally playing Gatsby's dad is 92 and wasn't up to a trip to Australia. So they asked if I would do it, and I said I could do it just for a free trip to Australia. And then I got Rabbit Rabbit, couldn't do it.
I know that every actor is always worried. Where's the next job going to come from? I
Yes,
mean, that's
indeed.
perennial fear of actors. But I mean, certainly lately you've been in high demand. I can't imagine you're going to be out of work for
Well,
one.
I have 3 days on a little movie coming up in this month. with Matt Bomer. Do you know Matt Bomer, the guy from White Collar? Um, really talented and very good looking. He did a thing with Jonathan Bailey called Fellow Travelers, I think was one of the most recent things he's done. Anyhow, I'm going to play. He's a school teacher and I'm the superintendent of schools. So I've got 3 days on that. Um, the thing about Blue Film and Mass both is that they were tiny movies, but they were great, huge parts. And because I'm not a movie star, those kinds of parts aren't going to be available to me in a big Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
They're going to get Michael Keaton or somebody to play those parts. So I love doing those parts, and I'm very grateful that these young filmmakers have thought of me, and to get to do big projects, not as good parts, but better money and higher
Yeah.
profile. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like being a little fish in a big pond or a big fish in a little pond.
Yeah,
Those 2 films, Blue Film and Mass, struck me as sort of theatrical in the best sense of the word, the kind of films I like, which feel very, uh they're not stagey, but you're sort of in the room with them.
they're very character driven, both of them.
Character driven,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I'd imagine working on those projects, and I might be wrong, but I would have thought it's more like being in a play than being in a 10-second scene in a television
I
drama.
Yeah, yeah, or, scenes where you're running down a street or whatever,
Yeah,
and those are fun too, but, to really get your acting juju going, those and I think my stage career experience really helps me, um,
sure it does.
to be able to craft
Yeah,
long takes. Mass, we did 20-minute takes, so,
yeah.
that was.
And that was actually staged here at the Donmar Warehouse.
Yes, it was. Did you get to see it? I don't can't
I saw
remember.
it, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I told you it wasn't I thought it did work on a lot of levels, but not as well as the film.
yeah.
It was, it was trying to almost compensate for being on stage, which it shouldn't need to. It was on a revolve because you had 4 people sitting, at a
Sitting at a
table.
table, tha and,
So you had a very slow revolve.
at
Uh,
one point early before we made the movie, someone suggested to Fran Kranz, our writer-director, "This is a play," and, he took it around to some theaters to see, and they were saying, "Well, we'll workshop it," and it's like, "I don't wanna workshop it, I wanna
yeah,
do it."
I don't blame him.
Yeah, and then the guy that ended up producing that said, "It's too intimate for a play. In a play, you're not gonna get the close-ups, and you're not gonna get all
Yes,
that
I
dynamic."
think that's right. I think it lost some of that,
Yeah.
intimacy. Yeah, but the Donmar is not an enormous theater, as you know, but
No, no, and I think the turntable was a really smart solution
it
rather
worked.
than, because I was worried when they were gonna do the play that they were gonna have to find all these reasons for people to get up and walk around, which
Yes.
would, sort of spoil the
Yeah, that's
tension.
right.
Yeah.
I would hope you'd be offered more roles like that. I mean, has your agent, fielded any more blue films in
Oh,
there?
JB, how it is. It's a crazy business. I mean, you don't know what's out there till it's out there.
Yeah.
Um, a friend of mine, a producer, actor producer, has optioned a book about a father and a daughter that he would like Gus and me to do,
Ugh.
um, which would be great. It's a wonderful story. The novel is coming out in October, um, but he needs $5 million, and so it's
Yeah.
years away. It's years
Yeah.
away.
I mean, I mean, theater is faster in a way. I mean, not nothing. I mean, it can take a couple of years, a couple of seasons or whatever to get to something staged, and
Right.
musicals take even longer because they have to raise more money. I recently saw a rewatched film about Francis Bacon, Love Is the Devil, which was John Mabry's first film.
Oh
Fabulous,
my. Okay. Yeah, I don't
so
know that one.
brilliant. Made on a very, very small budget. It's with, Derek Jacobi,
Ah.
it's Francis Bacon, and Daniel Craig. pre-James Bond, plays his lover.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this movie, yeah. Yeah.
Incredible
Right,
film.
and then, I saw that film, and there's a moment where the term "meet cute" really takes it to another level. Would you like to describe that, JB?
Was that the first scene in the film where
Yeah.
Dyer falls through a skylight trying to rob what he thinks is an empty studio, and it turns out to be Francis Bacon's studio and living space. And Bacon says to him, I won't report you to the police if you stay the night with me." And then
Mm.
there begins their long relationship. But, I brought it up because it took John Mabry 7 years or 8 years to make his next film, which was called The Jacket, which he hadn't developed himself. He was just he was stuck in Hollywood looking for a project, and someone else had dropped out. He directed this film, and, it's nothing on Love Is the
Doesn't
Devil.
come close, yeah. But,
No.
it's so much easier now to make movies, because you can make a feature-length movie on your phone. So, uh, I think it's actually a really exciting time for young filmmakers, uh,
Oh,
because they can this sort of guerrilla filmmaking.
yeah. That's true, but that's
Yeah.
not a $5 million budget, and that's not gonna,
No,
that's not gonna pay the rent,
right.
but it's a good pro and they can
No,
do.
it's something very much to look forward to and happy to do whatever comes along in the meantime. Um,
Good
I'm
to know.
so lucky and so proud at my age that, and after many, many, many decades of wandering in the darkness, that I have been able to sort of land with these two movies, especially with Mass and Blue Film.
I
Um,
I don't think of you as wandering through the darkness, Reed. You did win a Tony
but
Award for
but
that.
JB, let's not forget I'd been acting for 35 years at that point.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay, that's fine.
and there were the problem with late career success is all the people who were so awful to me as a young actor are dead now, and I don't I don't have the satisfaction of saying I told you so.
Oh, I can't believe that's true.
You
It's
you've been relieved of that.
yeah.
It must be liberating.
It's
But
it's so
actually,
true.
at this stage in your career then and seeing the industry change, um, how anyone can make a film, anyone can be an actor now. Are there actors, producers, or even works that you really admire that maybe have taken you by surprise or caused you to change your mind?
Gosh, I wish I'd done a little more prep here. Um, Nothing comes to the top of my head, but I will say I am always delighted when I see something that actually, um, tells the truth. I think I think I think there's a lot of showing off in show business and more and more and more and more. Um, and it gets hailed. I think a lot of big stars are just hams, just ham bones. And they win prizes and they get, and it's like, I don't buy it. I just see you showing off.
We're seeing more famous actors on stage because it's a way to raise money really quickly at stage of
Well,
production.
and they wanna do it because they want the legitimacy of a Broadway, and they wanna
Yeah,
and maybe it's the one award they're missing to be an EGOT. I don't know.
yeah,
But
right.
I think that's always been true that people who've never done plays before is like, "Yeah, I'd like to do a play. That sounds like it'd be a good idea." It's like, "Okay, good luck to you." But
Well,
when it actually breaks through and you stumble on something, either a big movie or a little movie where there isn't showing off, I'm just so gobsmacked because I think most things that we see are about killing time. It's Saturday night. I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. You want to go to a movie? Yeah, let's go to a movie. And you go to a movie and you kill a couple hours, and he's like, "That was good. Where you want to go eat?" Um, and then, and if somebody on screen is going, you get that they're sad.
You're sad.
The story is being told. You don't believe it, but you're following the story. But then when you actually see somebody who does the thing for real, you forget you're watching a movie and you're just like,
Yes.
oh
That's
my
what I s
God, they're in so much pain. Oh, God, somebody help them. And
Yeah.
that doesn't happen very often.
No,
But
it
when
does.
we all sort of live for that, whether we are conscious of it or not.
Yeah.
Because when it really happens, it's undeniable. And and maybe people don't know or think about acting, don't realize it, but they've been touched.
Yes. I
Reed,
wanted
I think I saw you in an interview. You spoke to an Australian interviewer and
Yes,
talked
just
about
lately.
your
Yeah.
mother watching you on stage and forgetting that it was you, her
Yes.
own son.
Yes. And that was especially significant because she was always petrified that the set would fall down or somebody would forget and that there would be a catastrophe. And she couldn't ever relax because she was so anxious about me being in the play and all that could go wrong. You know, the live theater thing, there's no net. Um, and she saw me play Lee Harvey Oswald in a play. And she said afterwards, she said, I forgot it was you.
Yeah.
And that was the highest praise I could ever have hoped
Yes.
for from her.
Well, she certainly followed her job description as a parent to worry about the stage falling on you. And just for some of our listeners who might not be familiar, about the sort of the tangible differences between theater and cinema. We were just talking earlier about actors who go to the theater or act in the theater. What are the different skills that what does an actor need to do to prepare for the stage, and alternatively, what does the actor need to do to prepare for the camera?
Well, I think telling the truth is telling the truth. I don't think in terms of the work itself, there's much difference. Maybe you don't project to the back wall, something like that, you know.
Mm.
But I think telling the truth in the most interesting way possible
I
applies to both.
I wanna
Um,
ask you I'd like to ask you the difference between, um, the, um, audiences between Broadway in the West End or New York and London, because you've seen it from both sides.
Mm.
When you were in the Humans, it moved, I think, to the Hampstead
yeah,
Theatre,
that's
and
right.
then again, when you were in London, filming Silo, you went to see a lot of theater,
Yeah.
and you felt the audiences are really different in London than in New York.
Well, you know, I don't want to, with all due respect, I feel like British audiences are raised, and serious audiences, I think. I'm not talking about, you know, the folks seeing Mamma Mia, but I think they're raised to be super respectful and in the theater. And so my experience doing the humans at Hampstead was they made no sound at all. They were like an oil painting. And then afterwards they would say, "Oh, that was the most astonishing thing I've ever seen." And you just wanted to throttle them. It's like you could have laughed. There were a couple of jokes in there. Wouldn't have killed you.
They
Um,
Why is that? Well, you said that they're
I,
conditioned
I
not
mean,
to.
I don't know. I don't know the British mindset, but it felt like that.
Yeah.
I would say conversely, American audiences are too enthusiastic,
Mm.
especially lately. Um, they will talk and shout out and
Well,
uh,
I've also or they'll stand up, they'll give a standing
well,
ovation
every
out
show,
on
it doesn't
stage.
matter what it is. It
Yeah.
really doesn't matter what it is. You have to stand at the end,
No, no,
and
no, no.
it's
At the end
annoying.
is one thing, but I've seen
Oh
audiences stand
no, now yeah, you're right. They'll stand in the middle of the show.
or, they'll applaud an actor, the first scene.
Oh,
They'll applaud
the
actors
entrance
being
applause,
on
entrance
stage. Like,
applause.
well
Yeah.
done for being on stage. It's like, no, let's see what you can do first. I'm not going to applaud you.
No, no, we give a lot of entrance applause. In fact, a friend of mine, an American who lives in London, not you, JB, when he was a young man and went over for the first time, he went to see, I think, a production, maybe Hay Fever or something, with and Penelope Keith came on stage, and he
Mhm.
started applause.
Well, no,
Was the only person.
that's so
And
embarrassing.
he then became quite successful and years later met her and
Mhm.
mentioned it. And she said, I remember that
Oh my God.
because it's the only time
Ruining
it
things.
ever happened.
Oh, how embarrassing. Just outrageous.
Yeah.
Eh, we've had stories here of actors stopping a production because someone was not even their phone went off, but was looking at their phone in the sight line of an actor, and it like destroyed their concentration. And does that
Yeah.
happen
The,
in New York? Probably
oh,
happens.
I think happens way more in New York than it does there.
Oh yeah.
Do people look on their phones in London? I didn't notice
Yes.
that so
Oh
much.
yes, I
Oh,
have
yeah.
noticed. What are you
Okay.
doing going to the theater if you're gonna troll through,
Well, there's the
your
famous, probably apocryphal story of, a play's happening, the phone rings, the guy picks it up and says, "Hello? No, I'm watching a play." It's all right.
poor actors. Poor actors. What
Yeah.
what's it like to be in a play where you know is not going well, and you've just gotta you said 90% of the plays you're in, what you didn't
They're
they didn't
dogs.
do well or you didn't like them, you didn't think they were that good. They're
Well,
just
it's really hard to write a play. It's really hard to write a play that works.
Yeah.
And, God bless everybody who's trying, but it's very hard. It's the planets really have to line up and um not many people can do it.
Yeah.
And we sort of take for granted because we mostly, we think of Streetcar or Cat on a Hot Tin Roof or something. And it's like you hear the plays that work. And so you just go to the theater and whatever you're going to see is going to work.
Well, Reed, you don't have to go back, 70 years to find a good play. They're
No, you don't. But I do feel like, uh, in my experience, it's harder and harder to find a really original, accomplished new play. It seems like there's a lot of like two couples on the Upper West Side. And so what?
there.
Who
That sounds
cares?
great. That's and 2 couples, not even just 1 couple, 2 couples. That sounds interesting.
We got to have two couples because then there's more opportunity for
Yeah.
conflict.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. But I think because I've been at it almost 52 years. Um, this is a terrible thing to say, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble, but I sort of feel like I've seen all the performances that are going to change my life. Um,
Well, you've seen some good
I've
performances.
seen some really amazing performances. I saw Colleen Dewhurst and Jason Robards do Moon for the Misbegotten, and I don't ever need to see that play again because I've seen it
Wow.
done
Yes.
perfectly.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
That's
she
name a
changed.
few more. That was great.
yeah, what are
I
some of your top
oh,
stage
I saw. I was sort of at the tail end of the golden age, I would think, but I saw Ava Le Gallienne and Rosemary Harris in The Royal Family. I
oh, for like
saw uh, George C. Scott do Death of a Salesman. Um, and these days when I go, it feels like I'm going to the drama club. You
mm.
know, all my sons performed entirely by children.
Mhm. Pa, 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 pa.
You've met a lot of really interesting people over the years. You stopped me in my tracks when you told me you'd met Myrna Loy, and every
Keep
time
Myrna Loy. Now, I wouldn't say she and I were best friends, but I
oh,
shook her hand.
shook her hand. That's
That
more than I
works. She I met her at the opening night of my first movie, Four Friends, in 1981.
oh.
She was at the premiere, and
So
you
she's
know,
seeing you on screen.
yeah,
She knew
she's
your
seen
work.
me, yeah, and said nice things. And it's like, whenever I see Myrna Loy in something where she's young and beautiful, I'm like, one day You're going to come see me in a show.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
That's really fun.
that was the exchange of that was two actors admiring each other's
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
pretty special occasion. Now, I always think of that whenever I see, the Thin Man movies, like my friend Reed
You
knew
met
her,
her. Yeah.
uh, at an event.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
was pretty
well,
great.
I am hoping you will return to the stage at some point.
It would have to be a really remarkable
Yeah,
circumstance.
fair
And,
enough.
and also because I'm not a movie star, nobody's going to build a production of Death of a Salesman around me.
No, it'd
I,
have to,
I could go to St. Louis and do Death of a Salesman, but I don't want to go to St. Louis and do Death of a
yeah,
Salesman.
and you don't wanna lose out on some lucrative
Yeah,
work.
at this stage in my career, I'm loving the sort of the real lifeness of doing film and television. That you're in a real bank, or and you're in a real bedroom, or you're in a, and
Yeah. What
that's
about s
really
with
fun.
the whole family involved? How about, something that had,
Well,
all
somebody
and
once said to us, said, "You all need to do Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf," and I'm like, think about it. That's disgusting.
uh, the very reason to do it, Reid. There's a challenge? Disgusting.
Disgusting.
And that fill you with like, interesting." He can do blue film, but he can't do Who's Afraid of with his own
Oh,
sweetie
that's
family.
her real life son she's kissing.
Oh, come on, it's what the people that's what the
Gross.
people want. Eh, yeah. Oh,
It's
I'm
just
not
acting, Reed. For God's sake.
yes, it's it's not really kissing, it's act you know that more than anyone.
Yes, I do. Not
Alright.
really. Not really
There
kissing.
and that was that from that discussion on a podcast led to the very famous production of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Quiet Bunny Family, the which superseded Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. Now it's the Bernie version of that thing. Most of that
I wouldn't go anywhere near that
finally the
play.
play's being done the way I wrote it, damn it. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. All right. From
Oh,
your
man.
mouth to all producers' ears.
Yes, anybody listening.
Well, thanks, Reed. This has been really a lot of
Really been
fun.
fun.
I've
Yes,
wanted to get you on
likewise.
our pod for a while. Remind viewers and listeners about Blue Film. It's being released here in England in
September
September.
25th. It's available on iTunes and Amazon and Letterboxd and YouTube rental. You can see it a lot of places now. And if you're one of those people that pirates stuff, apparently you can pirate it too. Um, uh,
To
but
see it.
it's out there, and I'm incredibly proud of it. And it is a challenging watch. And if you are prone to triggers, just know that going in. But it's a beautifully made movie.
Yes, I would second that.
Agreed. Agreed
Lovely
Thank
piece.
all
you.
around.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much. So, Jim, do you have a headquake for us today?
I do have a headquake, and it came out of rewatching The Sopranos, which I've been doing in fits and starts. And it led me to the online performance platform called OnlyFans.
Oh,
And,
spicy.
I'm just not aware of OnlyFans. I've heard about it. I remember it first coming to my attention because Bella Thorne, who was the co-star of Zendaya in, in a kids show called Shake It Up, that she had ended up on OnlyFans, and I said, "Well, okay, so what?" Then I found out it's it's a spicy performance platform where there's nudity and sex.
Where you can make a lot of money. I've been meaning to join it for ages, but I can't think what anybody would pay to see. But anyway, yeah, yes, OnlyFans.
Sorry, I have to digest that. Uh, I'll continue. What I didn't know was that the potential for earnings. I've been hearing about it a bit. They're almost unlimited. They stretch into millions of dollars per month for the world's most famous creators, right? So it's a global platform, and we see mostly women, sex workers doing stuff. Um, Sadly, the average performer, right? Let's not look at the hype. The average performer makes $100 a month, maybe $180, and that's because there's a the platform skewed towards a few ultra successful
Wait, sorry,
individuals.
can I that's the average? So there are people earning less than that, like $40 a month? I didn't quite understand why anyone
Yeah,
would bother going
you
on.
it's a dead end for a lot of people. Meanwhile, you're sacrificing your public appearance, your reputation, whatever it is. There are other platforms where other people make money, but I'm a chaste person, and that's why
Yes, you are.
I can't fully share all the information about these these platforms. So where do the Sopranos come in? There was the Emmy Award winning Sopranos actress whose name was Drea Matteo.
Yes, I
She
remember her.
was she was the girlfriend of
Of
what
the
was the actor's name? Chris.
he was he was the nephew of the, James Gandolfini character, right?
Yeah.
Forget his name. We'll get
Well,
100 years telling us.
after the Sopranos, which is an old show. I mean, I think the first episode was in 1999 or 2000. Um, much later in her career, leading up to 2019, 2020, the global pandemic, she refused to comply with Hollywood's COVID-19 vaccine mandates.
Oh, no.
And because she was anti-vax or vax hesitant, her talent agent dropped her. Her income completely dried up. Then she had some kind of a problem with her home, and her parents were suffering from dementia, which is sad and tragic. And she went into arrears on her property. And as a last resort to support her two kids and save her home from being repossessed, she launched an OnlyFans account charging $15 a month. She says she made 75,000 bucks within her first 75 minutes on the platform. It saved
Alright.
her home. She didn't
Nice.
do nudity except towards the end.
She
Um,
played Adriana
Thank
in
you,
the
Adriana.
Adriana. She was really good in it. I don't quite understand why her agent would drop her because of a vaccine ad. What
Well,
was
no
this
vax, no work.
like company oh, I see. They wouldn't no one wanted to hire her because they were afraid that they would get COVID.
You couldn't be on set with a large staff of large production staff and risk, getting COVID or giving COVID or whatever it is.
What does she do
Um,
on OnlyFans? I mean, what
like
how
I said, uh, they were just suggestive photos. Towards the end, she had nudity. The other weird part of the story is that her 13 or 14-year-old son helped the photo retouching. And
that's a
she's very about it. She saved the family, and she has some kind of streetwear brand or something that, keeps her in the black. So that's my headquake. OnlyFans.
OnlyFans came to the rescue of a wonderful actress who otherwise would have been on really hard times,
By the
so
way, Tisch School of the Arts graduate,
okay, alright, good
your
for her.
alma mater.
OnlyFans. Well, that's much more impressive than my headquake. My headquake would make my daughter sigh in exhaustion that it's another Beatles related book I'm reading. It's called Mr. Moonlight by Philip Norman, who wrote the first great biography of the Beatles called Shout back in the 80s, I think. This is a new biography about Brian Epstein, the Beatles manager.
Interesting.
I think in France it's called Monsieur Moonlight. I might be wrong. Anyway, it's a fascinating story, and that's my headquake. If you're into the Beatles as much as I am, you'll
Can you share a revelation or something interesting about the book?
well, I think
Because,
everyone
a lot of people are fatigued with the name Epstein. Maybe you can breathe a little life into it.
he was, yes, I mean, he was a fastidious, he was the right manager in some ways for the Beatles. He was, privately, He was gay and he was Jewish, so he dealt with a lot of anti-Semitism in the business, and he was very afraid that he'd be outed. And the reason he was afraid of being outed was not just really for his own mortification, but he was afraid it would really damage the Beatles. He was so afraid of that, so he kept very much to himself. He was at a very sad he died of a drug overdose, maybe unintended, barbiturates at the age of 32 in
Oh my, what?
1967 at the height of the Beatles' fame. It was an early casualty, really, really sad story, but there's much to that, much more really to his life. And in fact, I recently saw a play about him here in London called Please Please Me, a new play, about his relationship with, John Lennon. He was in love with John Lennon and sort of obsessed with Lennon. And there was a question of whether they went on holiday to Spain for 10 days in 1964 or 63, I'm not sure. And there were many rumors of what may have gone on then. But it's an interesting story, and it was called Mr. Moonlight by Philip Norman. So that's my headquake for this week. Thank you for watching and listening. I'm JB Miller in London.
And I'm Jim Jalamas in Brooklyn.
This is Boomer Hassan. Thank you. Bye bye.